Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday, and it's time for another edition of Talking Sports. I'm Sergeant Rock. That's Michael Cox.
Hey.
Joe Stovall will be here shortly. Maybe.
It's still early.
Yeah, it's still early. All right, here's what we're going to be talking about today. If you haven't heard already, LeBron James is taking his talents back to Cleveland. Is it a surprise? Nah, I don't think so.
It's interesting what he said about it, though.
Huh?
It's interesting what he said about it.
All right, we'll talk about that. Also, Chicago is still on Carmelo Anthony's mind. That's all depending on what Lala has to say. You know, she wants to stay in New York because...
It's New York.
And, you know, she's in that... what she does? She's on one of those reality TV shows.
Yeah, something.
Anyway, you know, Carmelo got to do what she say.
Don't we all?
Huh?
Don't we all?
And grow a pair.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking about growing a pair, Donald Sterling called his wife a pig while he was testifying in court yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday?
I think he called her a pig a couple days ago.
Yeah, well, they get ready to take Clippers away from him because that man, he just don't have it all.
He keeps proving he's crazy.
Huh?
He keeps proving he's crazy.
Yep, and NFL training camp starts in 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I can't wait for football season to start. And Illini coach Gross might be getting an extension, and Mike is going to tell you about all the incentives, those that he has on his contract already. The man getting paid.
But no, he's only ranks like 8th in the Big Ten, so he's not getting that paid. But yeah, he's getting paid.
But he's getting paid.
He's getting paid.
He's going to get paid some more, too. We got all that and more coming up on this edition of Talking Sports. You be sure and stay tuned.
We're back. MC such and such over here on the microphone. Old bad 80s rapper.
Oh, my fault.
Talking about microphone checker.
1, 2, 1, 2.
What is this?
Hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. What did you do 4th of July, Joe?
Barbecue, like everybody, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, barbecue. You know, kids had a lot of their buddies come over, so I had to keep barbecuing.
Oh, you entertaining folks.
I was barbecuing.
Oh.
There's a difference between entertaining and feeding people just off the streets.
Oh, okay.
It was like a soup kitchen.
You notice you and I didn't get that invite.
You sure did.
If you were 21 or under, you got the invite. Because that's all that was in my house was 21 and under, and they were...
I sat in the backyard throwing rocks at squirrels. That's what I did.
Let me ask you, have you noticed that squirrels over the years have become more aggressive?
Right?
You know what? They don't care anymore.
Right. Remember
they're not afraid of people.
No. Back in the day, you'd come out, squirrels see you, and just
Take off.
take off running. Crackhead style. Ah! Now,
They stand there and look at you.
gangster.
Dare you to do
Yeah,
something.
they stand there
Gangster.
and look
They're
at
like, what's up?
you. Yeah, what?
And then the other thing is squirrels and garbage.
Oh,
You know, back in the day, it used to be your garbage can was knocked over, stray dog in the neighborhood. Everybody knew that.
Yeah, either that or a raccoon.
Raccoon or something like that. Possum.
Mm-hmm.
Squirrels now will eat through your garbage can.
Jacking your garbage.
And then, if you got a fence, they chill up on the fence,
Eating your
eat
garbage.
your garbage, and
look down-
laughing.
Yeah, looking at you like, what?
What? You gonna
What?
clean that up?
Yeah, what? You got to clean it up, too. 'Cause
Right.
landlord come by. Come on, man. You got
City-
garbage all
city come
Yeah, you got garbage all over the
And then what's the first thing you say? But it wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
It was the squirrels.
Exactly.
Squirrels are straight gangster now.
And they don't clean up after themselves.
No, they don't.
They empty all your garbage all over the yard, pick out what they want. and just leave the rest.
I'm just glad it took less than 5 minutes for it to go off the tracks.
Oh, this is Talking Sports, isn't it? And we talking about squirrels and garbage.
We do that.
Yeah.
We do.
Life is interesting.
We actually started out, you asked me.
I mean, we do more than just talk.
Well, you asked about the 4th of July.
Yeah, what
We
did you
talked
do on the
about that.
4th of July?
I went and blew stuff up in Mansfield
Okay.
Blew stuff up in Mansfield.
See?
at my brother's.
Now, Mike, I wanna make sure this is not racial, but it is. 2014, white guy, Mansfield blowing stuff up.
Hey, well,
Hey, yeah, my brother lives there. He's got guns.
Oh, so it
gets even better. He's, you remember the show Earl?
Yeah.
That's his twin.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
I used to love that show.
He looks just like him.
My name is Earl.
Yeah, that's the name of it. My name is Earl.
My name is Earl, and I'm blowing stuff up in Mansfield.
And he was drinking whiskey.
See,
Just put another stereotype in here, Mike.
that
He's got nobody that lives to the north of him. He's got neighbors to the south, but he's got a big old empty lot between him and 74.
and the neighbor's about 2 miles away.
Right.
No, they're closer than that.
Oh, okay, 1 mile away.
Lives on a lake, close to a lake.
Does he have barbed wire all around?
No, he does have about a 5-foot fence.
Yeah, see.
He drives a pickup.
Does he have all his teeth?
Got a gun rack in the
He
back.
does. No, he does not have a gun rack.
Oh shit!
Well, okay.
His my sister-in-law is Italian, so
Hold on.
it's even worse.
Does he listen to Country West?
No, I think he just listens to what does the fox say? I think pretty much.
We better get back on sports.
Yeah, let's talk sports.
Because this is getting scary. Mike Cox blowing up stuff in Mansfield.
Mess around, Mansfield gonna be up here in the studio.
No, mess around, ATF gonna be in Mansfield.
Actually, I think he's Mansfield's unofficial official fireworks guy. So he's been doing it for I think he said about 10 years now.
He probably got a barn full.
Right.
He got a barn full.
Yeah, he has his own garage that hardly anybody ever goes in,
See,
or at least comes back out of.
So, his finale is an artillery shell.
He has some big stuff out there.
He's firing off mortar rounds.
oh yeah.
The best part is everybody driving by on 74 that's honking and
See?
flipping their lights.
See, he lobbing shells. He lobbing shells.
Those are not potholes.
We have to check the wind before we start.
Right. Okay. All right, Mike, that's enough. I'm glad you made it back safely.
Right. With all your fingers.
Yep, all your limbs and everything.
Hey, Mike, hold this. Okay.
Boom. All right, let me see. LeBron James going back to Cleveland. I guess
Surprising, isn't it?
Not really.
Not.
Personally, I could care less.
Well, I know you, but I'm from
But-
a sports standpoint, you're not surprised.
No, I'm not. I knew he wasn't going to stay in Miami. I knew that.
Right.
But, where else was he going to go?
According to him, nowhere. It was Miami or Cleveland, one of the two.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, where else was he going to go? You knew he wasn't going to stay in Miami. Well, I knew he wasn't going to stay in Miami. But where else
Well, the way
would you go? I mean, everybody wanted him, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But where else would you go?
Well, the way I looked at it from a basketball standpoint, I thought that, and I said this when we did our anniversary show, that all three of the guys opted out. They were going to take less money so they could bring more guys in, so they'd have a better team, so they can make another run for the championship. And then they signed Danny Granger, the once number one guy in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the Clippers this year, but things just didn't work out there. They signed Josh McRoberts. So I'm thinking, okay, what Pat Riley is doing is putting those role players in place to let LeBron and these guys know, hey, we're going to remake this thing and we'll be bigger, faster, stronger for next year. When I looked at it from the Cleveland standpoint, Cleveland, it would basically be LeBron going back to what he had, in the fact that Cleveland's got a lot of good players, but they're young, inexperienced, and if he goes back to Cleveland, which he obviously now is going back, that to me, it's a step down immediately, but the future I think is a little bit brighter in Cleveland.
But he's going back to a team pretty much the way it was when he left.
Right. So, if you've read his letter that he wrote this morning,
I didn't read.
Interesting.
very interesting, because the thing I enjoyed about reading that letter, it's less about basketball.
Right.
he talks about, his kindred spirit of northeastern Ohio, and
Want to raise his family in his hometown.
And you know what's so amazing about, we talk about it so much about why people don't like LeBron. And every time LeBron does something, if you think about what he does, when you step back and look at it, it's for all the right reasons and all the things people want athletes to do.
And say.
And he does it, and he gets criticized for it.
Well, first of all, he probably didn't write it.
He wrote this letter.
You think he did?
LeBron is sharp.
He wrote this letter.
Okay, well, I'm just, we all.
Let's go back to.
We all got PR people. Now, he has matured somewhat since his Cleveland day, because since that ESPN fiasco when he left Cleveland.
But I'm gonna stop you right there. Every time I hear somebody complain about that thing, people never talk about what it really was about.
First of all, I didn't complain.
Right, but you call it a fiasco.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It wasn't. He did the setting at a Boys and Girls Club because it was to raise funds and awareness for Boys and Girls Club of America. That's why I keep saying, why?
PR man, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you in front of a lot of kids.
Yes.
But he had to agree to do it.
Yeah, it's no different than what politicians do.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it is, actually.
He didn't do it for the sake of getting votes by looking good in front of little kids. He did it to raise money for the Boys and Girls Club. We always say athletes don't do the right thing.
Wait a minute.
When it comes to
you on ESPN. How is he raising money for them? You on ESPN
because it was
promoting where you taking your talents at next.
No,
how's that promoting the Boys and Girls Club? How is that raising money for the Boys? And
if
Girls
you go back, they raised.
Answer my question, Joe.
I'm getting ready to, Sam.
How did they raise?
Attorney, the prosecutor.
How did they raise?
Just the facts. Look at Perry Mason over here. They raised $1.2 million.
How did they do it?
From the viewing and people seeing what he talked about for the Boys and Girls Club.
I rest mine.
How do you rest your case?
He using them kids.
Okay, let's move forward to now. I am lost on that logic, which there is none. But anyway, and now coming to forward here, as we just mentioned, he talked about his relationship with that part of Ohio, raising his family. He this time doesn't have a press conference, no show, just sends a letter out and says, and at the end he says,
send it to one place.
Right.
He sent it to Riley, didn't he?
No.
Sent to SportsIllustrated.com.
Oh, Sports Illustrated.
And said, it's time to get to work.
And that's how Riley found out from the letter to Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
That's how everybody
found out.
I mean, that's a slap in the face.
Once again, there we go. What do you want? Do you want him to come out with Riley Spolster?
He could have called the coach and said, hey, dude.
You didn't think they met in Vegas Wednesday.
And he flew back to Miami on the same plane with Dwayne Wade.
On Thursday.
Yeah, I saw that.
You don't think that there was not conversation already at that point about what was getting ready to happen?
No.
Drink some coffee, Sarge.
Yeah, some of that burnt coffee. Because
that it is.
The synapses are not happening today.
I've been doing ASCAP paperwork all week.
Say that again 3 times fast.
I've been doing ASCAP paperwork all week. I just finished up this afternoon about 1:45.
So now that LeBron's back in Cleveland, let's move forward on the reasons why are irrelevant now. Sports related, he's back in Cleveland. Number one, what do you think is going to happen in Miami?
A lot of fans are going to jump ship.
They already did.
Some of them probably already had. They jumping ship like rats off a sinking boat.
I think the fan base in Miami is a little different than the Cleveland fan base, because we saw Miami fans walk out of games.
Yeah.
You know, they're a little more on the party scene.
And Miami fans aren't going to be burning any LeBron jerseys.
No.
Like that. They're just going to go, okay, whatever. We're going to the beach.
They'll be on their boats tonight with the fondue going.
Yeah.
Drinking the wine. Isn't that a shame that LeBron left?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Right. Who?
Oh, he's a basketball player.
I think
that's what that big building is downtown.
Oh yeah, I've driven by it before. on the way to the beach.
My driver's driven by.
I think basketball-wise, obviously Miami there's two directions it can go, which is the Captain Obvious over here stating that. Number one, if they can convince Carmelo in an 11th hour bid, basically to take LeBron's spot.
That ain't gonna happen.
And I'm more likely inclined to agree with you there. The second thing is, if I'm Chris Bosh, I got $88 million sitting on the table from Houston.
That's where he headed.
He's headed back home.
Right now, I've already bought my Spurs and my boots and my cowboy hat.
I got them out storage.
There you go. I'm back to the Lone Star State. So now that leaves a once revered man of Chicago.
It's my team again.
But I don't want it.
I'm good.
No, seriously, Pat. Really, I don't want the team. So now you're Dwayne Wade, and you know how
He's
just like right now, all three of us are.
He's feeling odd man out right now.
And you know, you're LeBron.
I'm gone.
You're Bosh. I'm Wade. I'm the old decrepit guy, and I'm looking at you guys going, I gave up $42 million.
I'm sorry, dude.
I opted out of $42 million for you guys to leave me.
But check it out, though. How? You know, when you opted out your thing, and you decided, well, we want LeBron to stay, so we gonna take less money, so he can get more money and stay in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say about you as a person? I ain't dropped. Hell no.
Well, you know Dwayne's already called Tom Thibodeau.
Hey, you got any openings in
I'll go
Chicago?
for the minimum. Just let me come home.
But going back to your question about what does it say about you as a person, for Dwayne Wade and Bosh to opt out, from Bosh's standpoint, it was a good move.
Yeah.
Because now look, he's got 88 on. But for Wade, I think for Wade, he's made his money.
Mm-hmm. But
he knew the only way to give an incentive to LeBron and Bosh to stay is to do that. Or to any free agent to come to Miami, he's got to take less money. Because what Wade didn't want to be, but he still is now, he didn't want to be Kobe.
Right.
Kobe's took the max in LA, and it's Kobe and who? Swaggy P and
nobody.
There's nobody playing on the Lakers team. So Wade's logic is, I got to take the less money because I don't want to be Kobe. But in the end, he still is.
Yeah, but doesn't he still have, what's her name, Gabrielle Union?
Yeah, but, you know.
That's not going to help him now.
Right, eh?
Well, yeah.
She's not going to suit up.
And look.
It's a lot easier going on with that than Chris Bosh.
Yeah, but think about how she's now looking at D. Wade. He went from being, you know, NBA finalist to has been.
She can go do another Bad Boys.
Right. That, or she can go do a Bad Boy.
Are they engaged or something like that?
Something like that, or married or something.
I don't think they're married.
No, I think they're engaged.
I got a feeling they'll be broken up before December. Before Christmas. Give me back that ring.
Yeah, you know, hit them tickets you gave me.
This now, though, changes. I'm really interested and intrigued now. You know, they always say that when that first big domino falls.
Now, yeah, Carmelo Anthony's going to be next. He's probably going to say something either tomorrow before Monday.
And the conversation now is either does he stay in New York
or go to Chicago,
or does he go to Chicago? Now, if he goes to Chicago, think about how the East, that landscape changed. Miami's done. We take Miami, it's out the picture now. Because I'll be a betting man.
They don't make the playoffs next year.
Make the playoffs? I don't even think they go to the NCAA tournament.
Really?
Right. That's how bad Miami's going to be next year.
Better be
all that's Dwayne Wade.
No, I don't think that.
Oh, come on. They got, did they get that? They got a couple of trades in, didn't they? In the draft choice?
No, it's Cleveland did that, I thought.
I mean, Miami got some guys, but
you
just lost the best player in the world. And the best player in the world on your team this past year won 54 games. Okay? He's gone now.
What's your point?
You might get lucky to win 24.
Ta-da! Once again, Captain Obvious.
How do you go from NBA Finals to 24 games?
To the lottery?
LeBron James.
Oh, shit.
That's it. So now you, like I said, if you look at the East, Cleveland is now catapulted, and they're also talking about even getting Kevin Love.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That Love made probably the most interesting comment was he's intrigued by the opportunity to play with Kyrie and LeBron.
I'm picturing Kevin Love with a big handlebar mustache, twisting the end of it. I'm very intrigued.
Hello, Timberwolves. Trade me, please.
Within 24 hours. And then if the Bulls get Melo, which I actually don't think that's going to happen.
You know, I'm hoping that it does.
I'm hoping, from a basketball sense, I'd like to see it happen. Because now you could see that Bulls Cleveland thing come back from the 80s when they used to battle at it.
Craig Elo.
You know, you would like to see that. But the only reason why I don't see Melo going to Chicago is that from a financial standpoint, there's 65 million reasons in New York. And I talked about this with a couple guys yesterday. I know from a sporting standpoint, you hear guys talk about championships and legacy. But there's a lot of broke men who got championship rings.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, and the other thing that we talked about a couple, 3 weeks ago or whatever, you know, Illinois state income tax is pretty dang steep. And ultimately...
He thought we were going down to Houston way, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Houston or Miami or whatever. But the point being that one of us financial people ought to be going, hey,
right,
Melo, their tax rate's like 40% or whatever.
And if you look at it from just purely a basketball standpoint, Tom Thibodeau, a lot of people love him. You know, he's a great defensive coach when it comes to X's and O's. But what's his problem? He wears his guys out. He plays his main players too much. And Melo, for the past 11 years, has been one of the top 3 scorers in all of the NBA. He's not going to go to Chicago to play defense at this point in his career. If he can't come to Chicago and just let it fly, like he's done with Denver and now New York, what's the purpose of him going to Chicago?
You know, we're sitting here talking about Carmelo. If he does go to Chicago, what does that put Rose? If he decides to play this year.
Well, he is going to play this year. He's had a nice 3-year layoff. But I think what it does for Rose, it gives you, just like what happened in Miami with the big 3, what happens with San Antonio with their big 3, you see that you don't have to do all the work. And as we've watched the NBA for the past umpteen thousands of years, the more superstars you have on the team, the better chance you have of participating in the championship. Plain and simple. One guy just can't do it. I don't care how good LeBron couldn't do it when he was in Cleveland the first time.
Yeah.
He could get him there, but he couldn't get him over the hump because one guy just can't do it. And so I think Melo going to Chicago takes stress off of Rose, allows Rose just to play. And then if the Bulls bring in another guy, you know, you think about those mid-range free agents that could come in and help. And
well, they got to get rid of Boozer.
Oh, he's already gone. Boozer was gone regardless of who they bring in or not. He's going to be amnesty because he was going to get $16 million this year. For what?
Rubbing the basketball to free.
There you go. And having his drawn-on beard and mustache. Then you look at the Mecca. You look at New York. If Melo stays in New York, same situation that LeBron's in Cleveland. If LeBron wins within the next 3-4 years a championship, just one, in Cleveland, that's equivalent to winning 6 in LA. Or,
Right.
Because they are so starved for something.
Right.
The other thing, economically in Cleveland, to go to that, think of it from this standpoint. Johnny Manziel is in Cleveland now for football.
Right.
And now, who is he represented by? LeBron's group.
Yeah. Okay.
And now LeBron comes to Cleveland. Imagine what just happened to the Cleveland economy.
Oh, huge spike.
You think about what it's going to be like.
Oh, we have a call.
We have a caller. 359-9227. Talking sports. Go ahead, Cole.
I have one quick question. Yeah, I have just one quick question. Who's there at Cleveland to help out LeBron? Can you talk about that? The team, you know, the Heat had Wade and they had Bosh and they had LeBron James. Who's there to actually help LeBron's out? Is he going to go back to the old ways where he got to do it all by himself? Can you name some players, some upcoming first round drafts? Who do they have to help him out?
Good question.
Hang the phone up and let you answer that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you calling Talking Sports. You hit us anytime.
Didn't they get Wiggins in the
Yeah,
draft?
Andrew Wiggins. They've got Kyrie Irving.
You got Kyrie Irving. You guys just mentioned Wiggins. Tristan Thompson. Tristan, young guy, played at Texas a few years ago. You got Deion Waiters, number 2 guard from Syracuse. They drafted a couple years ago. Anthony Bennett, the young guy from Canada that they drafted number 1 the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't pan out too well. He only averaged about 4 or 5 points a game.
But he's still young, though.
Right.
He's
And
real young.
and I think the point about what Cleveland has, going back to what Cleveland used to have, I would rather have Kyrie Irving than Mo Williams.
Or, yeah.
You know, I would rather have, right now, what's his name? Sideshow Bob, the center for Cleveland. He's got the floppy hair.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather have him than Ilgauskas when they had him back when LeBron was first there. So they've got a lot of young players. And if you want to see those guys, they play tonight in the opening day of the Summer League in Vegas. Cleveland plays Milwaukee, so you get to see Wiggins go up against Jabari Parker. Now, one of the words that's out there, going back to this Kevin Love deal, is that if they did make a sign and trade, Wiggins may be one of the pieces that they would jettison to Minnesota to get Kevin Love to come in.
That would be a good move.
I think it would be too, because it does 2 things. Number one, obviously it frees up cap space. It's more of a sign and trade. You sign Wiggins and then you send him on, and then he can have his career flourish in Minnesota, because now he's got to be the face of Minnesota. You know, Kevin Love's gone. You give what Kevin Love gives LeBron is a guy just like what Chris Bosh did, but at a better rate. He can stretch the floor, shooting the 3, and he rebounds better.
Yeah, he's a legitimate 2020 guy.
Right. And so now you get that, and then you get a guy. You go back to the All-Star game and how well Kyrie Irving played in the All-Star game, and if everybody remember, who was trying to help facilitate that? LeBron was feeding him and really getting him going in that All-Star game. And at the end, when it was time to get the MVP trophy, him and a couple of other guys were the ones who kind of pushing Kyrie out like, hey, this is your night to shine. Step on out there and, you know, get your award. So
Either that or just watch a Pepsi commercial.
well, yeah, there you go.
Him and Kevin Love.
Can he get him and Kevin Love together and get them out there in their old man gear?
So you think with the pieces that Cleveland have now, with the addition of James, they make the playoffs?
It's the East.
Oh, yeah.
It's the East. You take the best player from Miami and put them on Cleveland. Now Cleveland becomes Miami, and Miami has become Cleveland. They will be a top 4 team instantly. Now the second question is, do they make the playoffs? Yes. Second question is, do they get to the Eastern Conference Finals? I'd say no at this point if everything else stays status quo. But here's the other issue. What's going to happen in Indiana? You know, right. They're going to blow that thing up. Larry Bird is not going to deal with them idiots anymore. Lance, you know, Larry Bird walks to the locker room and looks at them and be like, what in the heck?
Shaking his head.
All right, just Lance Stevenson over there blowing in Roy Hibbert ear.
Mm-hmm.
Hibbert crying.
Because old boy hitting his wife.
Right, he over there standing with his wife in the corner.
Blowing on his arm.
All right. And it's like, what have I got? So, you know, Lance Stevenson, more than now the Pacers offered him about $44 million, but he thinks he should get more. If Lance Stevenson is smart, guess what he does? Take his talents to South Beach. Go try to be LeBron. He may not get 44 down there, but at least he can get put in a position to be the number 1 option, because we all know Wade he's done. I mean, he's on the backside of his career. And if Stevenson wants to go and kind of rebrand himself, to me, that'd be the best place to go. You know, he's wanted to be a number one. You know, Paul George, he's definitely going to still be in Indiana. I don't think he'll be anywhere else. Roy Hibbert probably is we just joke, he'll be gone. You know, somebody who needs a big guy will make moves on him. You know, and what I wouldn't be surprised to see is something like the Lakers take a Roy Hibbert.
Right.
You know,
Serviceable.
big guy. You know, Lakers always have a rich tradition of having. I'm not going to put him in the Wilt, Kareem, and Shaq category, but he's a Andrew Bynum. And I think, you know, if you can get a Hibbert there, then maybe next year you get another guy to come in and you start to rebuild the Laker brand.
But you notice doing this off season and free agent thing that's going on now, you don't hear much about the Lakers. Matter of fact, you don't even hear the Lakers in conversation.
Because they got nobody on the team.
Right.
Kobe and Sloppy Joe or whatever you said.
Paul Gasol.
He's in. I heard something about he was getting traded or something like that.
Well, they've talked about, you know, OKC met with him, but that's really a shot in the dark in terms of him going there because they really don't have any cap space to bring in a guy like Paul Gasol. The Bulls have talked to him. What I could see happening in this magical basketball world, and it always goes back to Carmelo. I said this before about LeBron, but now he's made a decision to go back to Cleveland. You look at LA as a superstar and you're like, okay, it makes sense for Carmelo in two areas. He already lives in LA in the summertime. Number two, he loves the limelight. So the thing about New York and LA is that
Two largest markets.
But New York is brutal. If you're not winning, they talk about your dog, let alone yourself.
But Lala likes New York.
Yeah. But like I said, they got two homes, one in LA and one in New York.
But she likes New York.
Yeah, she might like New York. But Melo might love LA. And if he can go there and play 2 years with Kobe retire, now he's got the keys to next to the Celtics, the most storied franchise in the NBA.
Pirtle said something to me. We was discussing this earlier today. I really can't repeat it over the air, but
You can massage it.
okay. No, I can't.
Oh, okay. You tell us off there, and we'll try to.
Yeah,
massage it.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll tell you off there. But no, Lala gonna make him stay in New York. I think.
Here's my question: is what's Shabazz Napier thinking right about now? After LeBron said what he said, and then he leaves.
I think Shabazz Napier is like, I just want to get an NBA contract.
I just want to be able to eat.
Right. You know, I'm not in UConn anymore, starving. I'm playing in the NBA, so. You know, I think we're starting to look at all these other changes. I'm still the one to me that the domino that we talked early in the show, Chris Bosh, if he signs with Houston,
that's a sweet spot.
That's
a sweet spot.
The Houston Rockets will be, to me, leapfrog OKC now.
Aren't they didn't they try to get rid of Lin or whatever his name is?
Jeremy Lin, he'll be gone. Jeremy Lin will be out of Houston because they've got to, once again, when the NBA, when they make moves, it's about contracts, not players. So they've got to move Lin. If they bring Bosh in for $88 million, they got to move some contracts, and he was overpaid to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he had his 15 minutes of fame in New York, and then they paid a king's ransom to get him down in Houston. And
yeah, he been riding that a while.
No, his 15-minute fame, it's like, you know, when airplane land, and you getting up, you walking in, and the flight attendant says, "Thank you for flying Houston Rockets Airlines. You have an enjoyable stay, Mr. Lin. Bye-bye."
Bye-bye.
Right. And he's like, but no, bye-bye. He's got to go.
Put them peanuts down.
Right. That's for first class.
Come here. All right, we got to take a break. We've been running our mouths for a while. We got to take a break. When we come back, Donald Sterling called his wife a pig. Get away from me, you pig. While she trying to talk to him. Donald, sweetheart. Get away from me, you pig.
Let's watch this His kingdom crumbled before his eyes.
That man crazy. I guess you get crazy when stuff starts to go downhill for you.
Yeah. Side chick snitch on you.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Wife turn on you.
Mm-hmm. Losing your team.
Lose your team.
He going
Kids
to,
don't even claim you anymore.
People suing you.
and he's suing the NBA for what, $4 million or something like that.
Something crazy.
That dude. Anyway, he got money. He want to waste. He ain't gonna leave it to nobody. Can't take it with you.
He will.
Might as well.
He gonna be laying in the casket like this,
I got a bunch of stocks and bonds all over.
holding on to the money bag.
Shit, the wife and the kids standing around with shovels waiting wait for it to get dark.
Don't worry, we got it. No, no, really. We'll cover it up. We got it.
Yeah, they waiting for it to get dark.
Miss Sterling come out there in the boots.
Yeah. Hold up.
If V come out with a shovel smacking people and stuff.
Y'all crazy. Mike's gonna tell us about Gross. He's working on an extension with the University of Illinois basketball team, and he's got a list. That man got all kind of incentives.
That's how these college coaches get paid.
That's crazy.
That's where they get most of their money from.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Bobby Hunt. If you're watching or if you're listening, Joe got on a Tennessee T-shirt or a jersey or sweater.
Remember he asked?
Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
so if he can't see it, at least we just told him that.
If I stand up, I mean I gotta sit back down.
Anyway, we'll take a break. I want to tell Joe the story, and maybe they can do what to it?
Massage it.
Massage it a little bit. So we'll be back with more Talking Sports right after these.
Sports WBCP 1580, UPTV, Channel 6, U versus
99.
Chinese cable.
370.
I think you were right. We just got through having an extended conversation about the breaking news. If you live under a rock, or if you live with Sergeant Rock, LeBron James is now going back home to Cleveland. You know, and we've talked about other guys like Carmelo Anthony. What would he do? And you know, Sarge was telling us that him and Mr. Pearl had a conversation that
Did you massage it over?
Well,
Are you?
here's the masseuse.
Okay.
LeBron goes back to Cleveland, and Melo's got some big decisions to make. And, if he's in a romantic position with Lala, on the couch, cuddled up, saying sweet nothings, and then Lala tells him how much she really loves being in New York.
Hang on, let me move this.
And in that moment of passion, they look deeply into each other's eyes, and Melo says, "I ain't going nowhere."
Okay, that's close enough.
Is that about
Yeah,
how
that's
your
close.
conversation went?
That's close enough. That's close enough.
That was my best Melo in the moment, in the moment response. And
Anyway,
they drifted off.
hey, make me a sandwich.
Right. You gonna make them tacos like you said you gonna make? Lala, I'm gonna make them tacos.
Yeah, put some cheese and miracle.
Right.
Y'all stupid.
Are we?
Oh, alrighty then.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Is it safe to put the duck back?
Yeah, but that was some good massage. WBCP.
Talking sports.
Yes.
I want to go back to this Tennessee shirt my buddy Joe Snowball has on today.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to mention that my dad in Tennessee,
Okay.
many a summer in Tennessee with my two brothers, Kenneth and Carlos. I graduated from University of Tennessee Law School. And don't forget where our former women's basketball coach is.
Jolette Laws, a assistant at
And then I'm going to go
Tennessee.
back a little bit further and see where you're at. I believe we tried to recruit a former coach from there, Quanzo Martin.
Yes.
Conzo, yeah.
We tried to recruit him. We let y'all believe for two. And quote me on that one.
Yeah, he's now gone on to greener
How many
pastures.
of us are smiling, even with Coach Long, because we're so mentor and we're doing great things in the state, so that's a good thing. I'd also like to add one other thing about this boys club. You might need to talk to your brother. I believe the club is down. They're a bit younger than Carlos and Bobby. But they had a program called Great Wise for that age group. I don't know if it ended before you got there or not. That was also a good program for young people. It taught a lot of sports.
Right.
Bobby would have more information on that. Carlos would have some of it, but yeah. So that's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you. Hey, what part of Tennessee?
Over to another 10 years.
Okay, what part of Tennessee is your father from?
He's from what's called Spring City. He grew up in Chattanooga, was born in Spring City, which is close to Knoxville. But he grew up in Chattanooga.
Is that anywhere close to whatchamacallit, Tennessee?
Whatchamacallit is on the west side
Oh,
of the state.
oh okay.
Jackson and Memphis, all that.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
All righty.
All right.
We're listening. Everybody's listening. We love you.
Oh,
Well, happy birthday to Jameer.
to who?
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Right. That's right. You know.
Okay.
Right. Have a good one. Okay.
Bye-bye. She was saying happy birthday to my son, who on July 16th will be the big 2-0.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, congrats.
Yeah.
Not only will your stomach be sticking out, your chest will be too.
No, my chest is I've got that furniture disease.
Oh, the what?
Chest drawers.
Oh, okay. He'll be 20, huh?
He'll be 20.
Yeah.
And then on September 11th, my youngest will be 18.
You getting
Damn,
old.
you're old.
You're getting old, ain't
No, I stopped.
You stopped.
Yeah, I stopped aging.
you? Maybe give it money.
Right. He's like, yeah, whatever.
All right, where were we going here? Oh, Donald Sterling.
Donald Sterling.
He was testifying yesterday in his trial. I guess you can say it's his trial because, you know, this is where they're trying to take the team away from him. And he literally, part of my friend, showed his ass.
Yeah. He's done that quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
He wears no underwear.
His wife was coming up to talk to him, and he said, "Get away from me, you pig."
Well, yeah, after she just testified against him.
After 50 years of marriage.
But she still loves him.
Yeah.
She loves him enough to get him out the situation that he's in.
Right,
Which he's in a bad place right now.
Right, and you are correct in that, in the fact that by selling this team, they're going to make what, $1.5 billion? You know.
But Donald doesn't care about the money.
Oh, yes, he does.
He wants to keep.
Oh, yes, he does.
He wants to keep his team.
What?
Come on, man. The dude is losing his mind.
Shelley wants to get him out of his bad situation because he hasn't given her signing authority yet on the checks.
He doesn't care about the money.
No, he doesn't.
That's all he cares about.
He's a slumlord. What are you doing? He's Joe Pesci in The Super. Give me the rent. Give me the rent.
That was a
Just
good
give me the
movie.
rent. That was a hilarious movie.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
You know, and that's who he is. He don't care. He don't care about nothing but money.
He doesn't care about anything because he doesn't have a mind now.
Well, now, you know what I'm picturing? You know how things are funny to you. I'm picturing the courtroom. You know how you watch these court shows, and the courtroom is totally filled up. You got the plaintiff and the defendant on each side.
Judge Joe Brown.
Right. I'm picturing Donald Sterling sitting at a table, and behind him there's nobody. Everybody else is sitting on the other side of the courtroom.
V's behind him because
Right.
she loves him.
And she's got that visor on.
Can't see her face.
Can't see her face. And other than that, everybody else is sitting on Shelley Sterling's side, and everybody's looking over at him like, sign the papers. What are you doing?
No,
No,
no.
I'm not gonna do
I'm
it.
going to sue you.
Yeah, he's suing
Suing everybody.
for what, $4 million, something like that.
Yeah, I think, you know, this is actually a foregone conclusion.
But what do you think the NBA is thinking? You know, their attorneys over here.
Laughing.
You know, are you serious?
They're laughing because this issue is in probate now because the trust is actually who owns the rights to this. And all they're trying to do is just get him to say, look, the sale's going to happen, regardless whether we force the sale or you volunteer this thing. Now, if you want to drag it out with litigation, you're actually wasting your own money. You're suing yourself. So come to some sense, which, as you said, he doesn't have any. You know, I think it's just that in when did this story break? February, March?
All-Star game.
All right. So back in February. So for the past 5-6 months, after taking 50, 60 years of your life to build something, all because of, for lack of a better term, your side chick.
No, that's a perfect term.
Your side chick, you've watched your empire crumble. And so he's grasping at straws, and the further he grasps, the worse it makes him look.
Let's let all the men know out there right now. This is what side chicks will do to you.
If you're an old rich white guy
and you got billions of dollars,
this is what your side chick will do.
Now, if you just got an apartment in a 40 ounce, that really ain't.
You don't have to worry about the side chick.
You living good,
right? You know, you let it come through.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I mean, it's become comical. Initially, it was, you know, think about what first started.
It was serious.
It was a serious issue. Clippers players, you saw fans with the boycott signs, and then you had Adam Silver step up and make, to me, in a short term, probably one of the most courageous moves a commissioner can make at that time in terms of the lifetime ban. But it also tells you, with his legal background, Adam Silver knew exactly how to lay this thing out before he made that statement. And now it's just a matter of formality of signing a few papers and getting this thing done.
But didn't they have Sterling's doctors testify that
he's crazy?
Yeah, dude don't have it all.
Yeah.
Well, but you also know that depending upon which side, you can get a witness to say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So
you write me a check, I'll say you crazy.
And I'll say you're not if you write me a bigger check.
I don't know.
No, both of y'all crazy thinking I'll write you a check.
Especially when he writes your check for a bazillion.
Yeah.
What the hell is a bazillion, Sam? See, I told you I'm crazy.
I don't have enough.
I just wrote a check for $1 billion.
I'm a millionaire.
Hundredaire.
Yeah, I'm a millionaire.
Dollar. But yeah, that's all this thing is. And I think that's why you don't even get a reaction anymore. It used to be when Sterling said something, it made the headlines and stuff like that, but now it's not even.
But they're trying to have this team sold by the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. And it will be.
They can force it. The NBA can force it whenever he wants to. But hey, let's enjoy the show for a bit.
Right.
It's kind of funny. Look at that person.
It's like when you're at your house and you're sitting looking out the window and the lady's falling on ice and she's trying to get up and she keeps falling. And it's like, you know,
that's not fun.
You just watch it for a while before you
go
think
outside
about getting up
and helping her.
You guys are mean.
You don't do that?
No.
Right.
I would.
You the one who told me the story. That's why I'm telling it.
I would immediately rush out
and fall too. Now you got two old people down on the ice. Oh, this is hilarious. Get the popcorn.
Okay. Okay. Y'all ever let a broke a thumb? Pull a ligament in the thumb. He gonna be out for him.
What's so surprising about that is I didn't think he could run that fast for that to happen. To be honest with you, because I think you're quicker than he is.
I probably am.
Probably, maybe.
Shoot, if I had to run for my life, I'd probably die.
You commit suicide.
I just thought I was surprised because I mean it looked like a really slow slide in the third. But I guess he caught it on the dirt or something.
Yeah.
Which is really weird because it happened in St. Louis.
Head first slide?
No. Yeah, he can't get going that fast.
Right.
Feet first, dude.
No.
But you know what happens when guys put that hand back to
bounce.
bounce.
And
Oh, okay, yeah.
Probably just caught and torqued it.
Anyway, he's out for what?
Rest of the year, basically,
8 to 12 weeks, he said.
until October baseball gets here.
So-
He'll be good and rested.
Well,
What, he playing fall ball in the minors? I'm
well,
sorry.
I don't know. Cardinals been struggling as well. They're still in second place. What, second
They're only
place?
2 games back.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, that's
Last
it.
I seen, they were like 6.
No, they're only 2 back.
We've been winning a few.
Let's not
Let's
talk.
see.
Do we have to talk about baseball? And I'm gonna tell you
hey,
what.
Hey, your Cubby got voted in as an All-Star.
Rizzo.
Surprised the heck out of me.
Well, no, he's been playing some good ball, but
Yeah.
the thing that bothers me about the Cubs, and I know what Theo Epstein is trying to do, he's trying to do it the same way he did it in Boston,
Yep.
is about having a super strong farm league system. So that way, you're just pulling your own guys in,
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
you know.
But that's the way most managers are going now.
Well, and the reason why
They doing it because it's been working for other teams. Why come it can't work for our team?
Well, that, but also I think the area of, and everybody's noticed that other than the Yankees and maybe the Dodgers, the Phillies did it a little bit a few years ago. Having high price free agents on your team, you know, with the way this contracts are set up for baseball, where there's, you know, money's guaranteed, what's your motivation? If you're if I come in, I'm a $150, $160 million guy, what's my motivation to really get to the next level? I really don't have it.
There is no next level.
Other personal pride.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And there you go. And, the argument I was using with a guy the other day, I said, think about it. If you're a banker and you make $250,000 at one bank, and Bank Y says, come on over, we'll pay you $500,000. You go to Bank Y, make $500,000, and your money's guaranteed. What's your motivation to work harder at Bank Y? You got $500,000. You worked hard at Bank W to get to the Bank Y. And now that you've gotten there, you don't work harder. Unless, going to Mike's point, you got personal pride and you're trying to get to Bank Z to make $1 million. But if you're making 150, 160 million, so I think what this concept now, like you said, that's worked with other teams, is let's build our farm system up, bring our own guys up. They're not making that much, so they're going to play hard. Number one, personal pride, but number two, they're trying to get to that next level of contract, and then we reap the benefits of those guys playing hard for us.
Albert's a really good example of that. Because he ain't done a whole heck of a lot of that in California.
And
for 10 years, he's,
underpaid.
first ballot Hall of Famer. And then he gets the, whatever it was, 200 or something or whatever. And, first couple of years he's hurt, doesn't play well. He's playing better now, but
He's still not playing at that level.
Right.
But once again, why should he, even though he's, you talk about personal pride, maybe he thinks he's playing, as well as he can. But what is his motivation to go to the ballpark and play at 110% level all the time? His family's set.
yeah.
And I think when sometimes we confuse the concept when it comes to sports compared to everything else in life. You work to provide for your family. And when you reach, every job has a cap.
Right.
It has a ceiling on it. and instinctively or subconsciously, when you've reached that cap,
You escape.
instead
Instead of cruise control.
instead of getting there an hour early, you get there 10 minutes early or 10 minutes late, or you don't. Hey, personal example right here. But the point is I think that's human nature in everything we do. And so going to that point about what the Cubs are doing right now, they're trying to change, that lovable loser thing. And the sad part is they've got to lose even longer
To get there.
and then will they even get there?
Well, and some of the stuff that I've heard is the Ricketts family's not necessarily wanting to spend all that money either. Let's become a winner on a medium level budget.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, how can you say they getting ready to redo Wrigley Field?
But think about redoing Wrigley Field is more of an investment.
puts money in their pocket.
Right. They were talking about putting apartment complexes behind center field and all of that. But what does it do? It makes Wrigley more attractive for more people to come, spend more money, and as Mike just said, to make more money and become more profitable.
And the Ricketts own Wrigley Field, I believe.
Yeah. Can't you see just opening your sliding door and going out on your balcony and setting
Watching
up
a
your
Cubs
chair
game?
and watching the Cubs game?
But, and all jokes aside, but think about what it is. It is like going to the park. And when I say the park, I'm not talking about the ballpark.
Right, right.
It's like going to the park, having a picnic, lunch, a few beers with your friends, some laughs and jokes, and oh, by the way, there's a ball game going on out there.
Right, right.
You don't go to Wrigley Field to watch baseball. Only if you, I bet you if you surveyed the 40 to 50,000 who go out there, 50%, I would say, are purists about baseball.
Right. If that many.
Right.
If that many.
That number's probably even, and I'm probably being a lot liberal on that number. Most people go for the beer, the scenery,
Hot dogs.
The area, Wrigleyville.
right? So as soon as
To be seen.
before the game's over, before the game starts, go to Wrigleyville, have a few. After the game's over with,
Have a
the seventh inning stretch, who's gonna sing?
Yeah,
You know, and to be able to say, I went to Wrigley.
exactly. Well, and the other thing is, if they do put apartments there, I would guess for some people it'd become the most expensive real estate in Chicago.
My goodness.
As soon as they open
The
it,
north side of Chicago,
the moment they open them doors,
and think about it, you're a 20-something, just graduated, nice job, you're single, and you're able to tell your buddies.
You tell the women.
Well, you tell your buddies.
you tell your buddies first.
right. Then you tell the women.
Come on, baby, let's go on my place.
Because you tell the women, you ain't gonna have no buddies.
Yeah, it worked.
It's ironic you mentioned that because my brother that I was talking about in Mansfield, his son is up there right now in that exact same situation. He's young, good-looking young kid. He's got his girlfriend with him, of course, but
You ain't blowing up nothing, is he?
I'm sorry.
He's not blowing up anything.
No, not in Chicago.
Blowing up his career.
Lives a block off of Lakeshore Drive in a big, gigantic high-rise. So he's living a life,
Hey.
and thankfully he prefers red over blue. But you know,
Yeah, but he'll change.
yeah.
You know, he keep hanging out up there.
No,
Have you seen where some stadium concessions now are putting automated beer machines?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can.
In Milwaukee is where they're putting the first one, I think.
Put your cup up there.
Yeah. Well, you got to buy a card.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they start something like $20. You can get one
Get you
30.
a beer.
30. And,
Small.
Yeah, and you use the card to dispense your beer during the ball game.
Yeah.
I think they started something like 12 ounces, something like 38 cents an ounce. So if you want to get a 12, 38 times 12.
Let's wait. Wake me up.
Like $4 and some change.
Oh!
What?
It's smoked.
I now see what you go through.
It's like $4 and change for a 12-ounce beer.
But you can only bring in a 42-ounce cup.
That'll eat up your $20.
You think?
Captain Obvious.
But they gonna do this in a number of stadiums now. I find it to be,
So, are you concerned about the days of the beer vendor? The guy walking down the steps talking about cold beer?
Yeah.
Get your cold beer.
That's
Cold beer, yeah.
gonna take away some jobs.
Yeah, but automation has done that with.
Everywhere.
How many bank tellers do you see since the ATM machines came out?
I don't know. Busey have about 5 or 6.
So you walk up to the get your money.
I got to.
Okay.
They don't dispense dollar bills and
I got to.
$1, please.
I got to.
The lady just reaches in her pocket and gives it to him. She's like, I'm not even going to trouble you with the paperwork, Mr.
The
Britton.
time center's that way.
I know where my stop off is, ma'am. But back to the
Y'all seen my checks.
unfortunately. The Cubs situation, Epstein, Houston doing the same thing down there. You guys talk about seeing it work. It obviously worked when Epstein was in Oakland. Pittsburgh has done it,
Oh yeah, they've done it really.
you know, and you talk about having that mid-major market, that small market.
Cardinals have done it.
Cardinals
And
have done it.
Still doing it.
for years.
For years, they've done it. We've watched the Rangers
Yeah.
do it over time. They've done it for the past, about 5 years. They've done a fantastic job in doing that. So,
Giants as well, haven't they? Pretty much. For the
Yeah.
most part, yeah.
and if you look at what you have to do, you have to have strong pitching, young, strong pitching. You have to have solid middle defense, center field, shortstop, second base, catcher. And then you have to have some real multi-purpose 5-tool guys. You know, I look at Pittsburgh and I look at a guy like McCutcheon on Pittsburgh. He is not a big guy, but he can go yard. He's got the range to play center. He's got the arm. He's got the glove. When he gets on base, he can, steal bases. He can hit for average and power. You need a bunch of those type of guys on your team today. The days of that big lumbering, one-dimensional guy, just stick him out there and the only thing he does is go yard.
Hit home runs and strike out.
Right. Those days are over. I won't say they're over, but they're diminished in terms of the fact that, other than, you think of like Dunn.
And yeah, I was gonna say other than Adam Dunn. Yeah.
Right. You get a guy like that, you don't see too many guys who they're one-dimensional. Go back in the day to Dave Kingman when he was playing with Chicago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, all day, that's all he did. Like you said, go yard or strike out. And the days he went yard, he went yard multiple times. But it is, I would say, a minimum of 2 years away for the Cubs to even see this stuff come to fruition. And if it doesn't work, I think that's the biggest thing for fan bases. You tell a fan base who's been waiting 7 years now?
70?
70. Who's counting?
One of the things that I saw when the Zamarja trade was made, I saw a post on the forum. I don't even remember what it was, but this guy's like, "How can you trade your best player?" And I'm like, "Dude, haven't you heard of Castro,
Right.
Rizzo, the Cardinal killer, Darwin Barney?"
Right.
So the young kids are there.
Mm-hmm.
They just got to get those other pieces that you were talking about to plug into it.
And, going back to the guy, when he says, well, how can you trade Samardzija, your best player? You're in last place.
Exactly.
He's so good, he got you in last place. So you can't get further in last place. You're in last place. And I think that's once again, now there's the divergence between common sense and fanatic when it comes to a fan base looking at this. If the Cubs were in third or second, maybe you got an argument you don't trade him. But you're in last place. So because you're in last place, as a general manager, I look at my roster and I go, okay, who has the most value that I can jettison to get multiple players that become prospects? Oh, Jeff Samardzija. And I can send him out of the league over to the American League where we don't have to worry about facing him. And then he can go over there and have successful. So it's a win-win for everybody. But for a fan to say, well, how could you do that? Just open the newspaper and look at where your team is before asking that question.
Well, and the good part about that trade is Epstein got some people he can turn around and trade if he wants, because out of the trade you've got Castro at shortstop, and then you've got two other shortstops that came out of that were in the A's farm league system, and one of them was supposedly the next shortstop of the century.
Right.
So he's got some players he can work his deals with. So
Yeah. So
I like Theo. It's a shame he's in Chicago.
Well, I just hope that I just hope.
It's not gonna happen.
You don't think it's gonna happen?
It's not gonna happen.
I would, and I hate to say this, but I've been saying it for years. You know how they talk about the curse of Wrigley and the goat and all that.
Bartman.
I really believe, in my heart of hearts, to change the culture, because that's really what you're talking about.
Yep.
You got to change the culture, and one of the ballpark is, to me,
Part of the culture.
and it is the culture in the fact that if I'm an owner and I can get 40,000 people into a last place team, I have, going back to what we said about personal incentive and motivation, there's no motivation to create a winner if I'm making money off the last place team. Now, if I'm in Houston or the Florida Marlins and I get 7 people coming to the game and I just spent $18 billion with fish tanks and sharks and clubs and all of that and nobody comes,
Right.
then I got to do something to ratchet up fan support.
Yeah, they got more people visiting the aquarium than they do in the stand.
Well, I was just gonna say that's 7 people on a giveaway night.
Right. And 6 of them are senior citizens.
employees.
So, you know, they didn't have to pay to get in there. So I really think.
Speaking of that beer vendor, you know, cold beer, some dude sitting out in the center field all by himself.
I have one.
He just pulls it out and just whips it.
Hey.
Son of a. I knew you. Come on, give me a comment. And then he get out there. You got change?
Oh, yeah.
I got to go back. Okay.
Hey, you see where Prince Fielder is catching a lot of heat from his photo.
Body magazine?
Yeah, photo in the Body magazine.
Body shoot?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Prince ain't necessarily a well-defined young man, is he?
You know what?
Muscle-wise.
I want to put my hands up high and thank Prince for doing that shot.
Yeah.
Because what he did is he gave legitimacy
To fat people.
to big boned guys. Guys whose bones hang over their laps.
Oh,
And not that bone, but the bones that hang over their lap.
nah, you know, he didn't look too bad. I mean, just think, the average man
That's. Hello?
looks like Prince Fielder.
Well, maybe not with all the tattoos.
Well,
Right,
yeah,
but-
but you know what I'm saying.
But
Everybody's not chiseled with muscles and this, that, and the other.
right, and if you look at his dad, I mean, Cecil was never what you would call in good shape.
He's a-
Dad was a beer vendor.
Yeah, he was. Who could hit a ball about a mile and a half.
well, Prince can too.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you would think might be some definition in there someplace.
But I think what it does, it also goes to the aspect of what is an athlete.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is depending on what you do and what you are, an athlete. Prince Fielder is an athlete.
Right.
Well, and that's the entire point from ESPN's perspective of the body issue, is to show all the different bodies, if you will.
Venus Williams.
Serge Ibaka was in there.
Yeah.
The beast mode.
Marshawn Lynch.
He's in there.
The girl.
And the bobsledding. Was that
Asa Evans.
Yeah.
Asa Evans from the U of I.
Right.
Yeah,
He's in there.
man.
When I saw it, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna like this.
Right.
And she even talks about it. She says her lower body's it. That's what everybody compliments her on.
It
And sometimes it gets weird.
And it was it.
And you know who her brother is?
He plays in the NFL, the defensive tackle, I believe.
Fred
it is.
Evans.
Fred Evans.
Yep.
And then she's got a cousin or something whose dad was an NFLer, I believe.
Because
Or
I
is
think
in the NFL.
I think
can't
she
remember
said
who it is.
her parents were athletes.
Yes.
You know, back in the day, so she comes from an athletic family. But I haven't seen I've seen a few shots, but the entire magazine haven't seen.
You can go to ESPN.com
Or Huffington Post, it's on there.
and check it out.
Or Sergeant Rock's bathroom.
Michael Phelps is in it. Not yeah, it's actually an interesting, because I mean, you know, it's the big issue.
Yeah,
for
they
ESPN.
had a young lady that's what, UFC fighters. She was in there.
Ronda Rousey.
Rousey last year.
Yeah.
The one this year's a boxer.
Oh, is she a boxer? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and yeah. I'd give her a wide pass because she looks like she could hurt you in more ways than one.
He's been hurt before.
That's right.
Ain't been nothing for him for a woman to give him old 1-2-1.
Oh,
That's that's called foreplay in this house.
beat me, baby.
Wake up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, if you want to check those pictures out, that's where you need to go. You know, it's kind of, I don't know why I can't say it rivals the Sports Illustrated swimsuit because it doesn't.
Well, I mean, with the exception of the obvious differences in the intent of the various photo shoots, I think the ESPN, the magazine, the body issue is a much better done, artistic, if you will, group of pictures. Now, SI Swimsuit Edition has its own pros, shall we say?
I got pros.
But
I got pros.
I just like the way ESPN does the photo shoot. I think it's just well done. That's all.
That's your opinion. You sticking to it.
I am.
All right. Before we go to break, we mentioned at the top of the program that the Illinois basketball coach John Gross was possibly going to get an extension to his contract. I think it's another 4 years, something like that. Yeah, but they're waiting on the board of governors or board of directors or whoever make the decisions out there to
Board of Trustees.
Yeah, them dudes to make that decision on that. But Mike's going to tell us already what he's making and the 12 or 13 something odd incentives that he has to his contract. I mean, he can make tons of money besides the 1.2 million that he's already getting as his salary.
1.6.
1.6. Okay. Sometimes all you need is a couple of $1 million.
Or bazillion.
All right.
Anyway, John Gross, the UY men's basketball coach, Mike Thomas, the athletic director, proposed to the board, or I guess it was a committee of the board of trustees, to increase Gross's salary by $100,000 and a 1-year contract extension. He currently makes, as I just said, 1.6. And the proposed amendment to Gross's contract would keep his base salary at $400,000 annually, but boost his other compensation from media and marketing contracts to $1.3 million, retroactive to May 1st, which would raise his overall pay to $1.7 million.
Dang.
Now, before everybody goes crazy on $1.7 million, here are some facts about how that salary ranks versus other coaches in the Big Ten. There are 14 basketball coaches in the Big Ten. His salary ranks number 8.
Who's the highest paid?
I'm guessing probably Izzo.
Either
Izzo or Mata.
Mata out of Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I don't know off the top of my head. The highest they've been ranked in the AP under Gross is 10th, and last season's attendance of 243,931 fans ranked 15th nationally.
But they okay, well, go ahead.
No, and I was just gonna say, there's some other stuff where Thomas talks about some of the big wins he's had and the NCAA tournament and the NIT last year before last, whatever it was. His current contract runs through 2018-2019 basketball season. Mm-hmm. So that's it in a nutshell.
All right, what okay, he has some incentives. I saw he has some incentives.
Let's see here.
You might have turned a page.
Yeah. Story of my life.
Captain of it. Turn the page, Mike. Turn the page.
Okay.
Now you gotta find it.
Mm-hmm.
He gets incentive payments of between $25,000 to $250,000 each year for meeting specific goals such as Big Ten tournament title or NCAA tournament appearance. He also receives deferred compensation at $100,000 a year, up to a total of $500,000 for staying for 5 years.
That's a nice little kick in your retirement plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and I know this is old history, but a lot of folks went nuts when Self left, but he walked away from that same $500,000 when he left.
Right.
So, it says that no state funds or tuition dollars are used to make his pay. It all comes out of the athletic department.
Right.
He was hired in 2012 under a 5-year agreement. We paid him $400,000 annually, plus $1 million for media and marketing activities. Let's see. A year ago, he received a $200,000 raise and a $25,000 bonus after his first Illini team made the 2013 NCAA tournament. His 3 assistant coaches, Dustin Ford, Paris Parham, and Jamal Walker, each make $180,000 a year, plus cars and clothes and all that other stuff.
The one thing that I'm glad you pointed out, first of all, is where the money comes from.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where a lot of the misunderstanding and misnomers about coaches' salaries. And, you hear a tuition hike here, a tuition hike there, and then you see whether it's renovation at State Farm Center or you read a story where Gross is getting a bump, and immediately people say, oh, well, we're paying for the new stadium or that coach's salary. The DIA's budget is totally separate
From everything else.
Right. And the reason why they're able to do that, think about it. Let's go to your point about coaches leaving, and let's go to our recent Bruce Weber, Ron Zook, Jolette Law firings. Everybody says, well, how do you fire 3 coaches like that and then have money to pay their replacements? Well, usually they get alumnus, big dollar donors to write the buyouts for these guys. You had mentioned like somebody like a Shad Khan or something like that. You get guys like that to step up and say, okay, we owe Bruce Weber $5 million.
Okay.
All right, 5 guys, $1 million. Here's a check.
Name a tree after me.
There you go. That's exactly it. Exactly it. Ron Zook, when he left, why did Ron Zook not go right into coaching after that? Because they gave him
A buttload of
money to get out of town. So that's the first area, is that how the budgets are separated from the academic side and the athletic side. The second thing you read off, his base salary is about $400,000 to $500,000. He's got to do all the media appearances to get. So one of the things that you notice about what coaches have to do is, whether it's talk shows on a Monday,
Right.
TV shows on a Wednesday, interviews, their time is so micromanaged because of that other portion of their salary. So think about how much time, when it comes to the sacrifice coaches have to make when it comes to family.
Right.
These guys, because all right, now it's summertime. What are they doing now? They're going to every AAU, on the basketball side,
The open.
going to these AAU tournaments, etc., doing all this recruiting, so they don't get the, somebody might go back to and say, well, a professor should make that much money. Well, no disrespect to a PhD, guy who's earned it in the academia side, but after he does his work here on campus,
He goes home to his family
that's it.
and bores them to death.
Right, with what he did at work.
Yeah. Well, a good example of that, and I know the seasons,
And then his wife runs off with the coach.
Yeah, exactly.
because he's making more money.
Right.
The seasons are the same, but I don't know, because I didn't go to Urbana football games last year, but I don't think I ever saw Tim Beckman there watching his son play quarterback. His wife was there, the kid's mom was there all the time, but
Right.
Tim wasn't necessarily there. I do want to point out that information came from an article written by Julie Worth at the News Gazette. So,
But yeah, it's just it because last night I ran into a former U of I coach. I won't say his name to protect his privacy, but he was in and out. Good guy, known him for years, and had probably 2 minutes to talk to me, and he's hustling to get to Chicago to get on a plane to fly to Vegas. So this, and he even told me, he said, man, he said, I gotta move. I don't get a chance to get back here often. He said, here's my number, lock me in. call me, and the next time I come through, maybe I'll try to say.
Right.
And I'm like this. You ain't got to explain to me, your schedule. I know.
You were talking about why Zook didn't jump right into coaching after he got cut loose. I saw him over at a gym, west side of Champaign, Planet Fitness. I think it was the spring after he got let go. And I'm like, should you be down on a lake water skiing? He said, I got plenty of time for that. I'm up here, my daughter bought a house. We're helping her move in. I said, oh, you mean you're helping her move in? Yeah, wife's in charge.
Right.
But, I mean, he was just cool, got time to come work out, do whatever I want, da-da-da-da-da.
And what did we talk about in the previous segment about when you get to a certain level?
Right.
You kind of plateau. These guys, if you think about the time from grad assistant to assistant to all the different schools, and they basically live out of the old saying, coaches get hired to be fired.
Yeah.
They know as soon as they get hired, their time is limited somewhere.
The clock is ticking.
So they got to do whatever they can and then get out of town and get to another place and get out of town. So you think about Gross, whether he was with Thad Matta at Ohio State, he then goes from there to Ohio University, be the head man there. Now he's been here 2 years, and if he does what Bill Self did, he's gone.
Yeah.
That is the unfortunate part for Illini fans to recognize this. But the reality is, you pointed out, he's the 8th highest paid coach in 14 coaches in the Big Ten, which means if he captures some of these high talented recruits that he's been going after for the past couple of years, and these guys come in, instead of winning 20 games, they win 25 or 30. Now they get deep into the NCAA tournament, as we talk about during March and April. All you got to do is win 2 games to become a hot commodity in coaching.
Well, the very first thing in the article, I guess subtitle, whatever you want to call it, is a quote from Mike Thompson, the athletic director, and he says he's considered one of the best coaches in the country. Part of that might have been trying to prime the committee, but it's still, I'm sure it's absolutely 100% a fact. And when you're one of the best, people are calling you all the time.
Right.
When you look at the Big Ten Conference, I think they're the only conference that has coaches that have been with teams, for like over 10, 15 years. I think we had the most coaches in the Big Ten Conference that have been with teams for that long a period of time. Do you see Gross staying for 10, 15 years?
No, I don't.
I think it depends on what motivates him. But I would tend to agree with Joe in that I don't think 15 years from now he'll be here.
No.
I think he'll be leading some blue blood somewhere to
Right.
multiple championships, because he is. I mean, everything I've ever heard about the guy is he's high energy, he's upfront, he's completely honest, and everybody that old proverbial "who would you want your daughter to marry" type of guy. That is just go, 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 go. And he obviously knows his stuff, because he's got an Illinois team to win 20 plus games.
Right.
So,
I mean, and what he did last year
was amazing.
with 9 new players. I mean, it would almost like he started a program last year.
Yeah.
And to win 20 games, go to the NIT, win a game in the NIT is, the average fan would be like, it's just a regular season for Illinois. What he did with what he had and how he had to mesh it together, as Mike just said, that's amazing. So to your point about, is he a Tom Izzo or a Bo Ryan, the answer is no. Those are homegrown guys who've been with their program and had an opportunity to, you think about Izzo being Judd Heathcote's assistant
For 20 years.
Right. And so he just takes one seat over. And they treat Tom, you think about Michigan State treats Tom Izzo the right way.
Michigan treats Tom Izzo the right way.
And money, when conversation comes about Tom Izzo, it's always the NBA.
It's never about another
school he's going to. He's not leaving Michigan State for another school. The NBA, somebody have to throw him a big bag of money with no ink inside it, because he didn't rob a bank, for him to go. And at this point, he's had about 3 opportunities to leave and he never has. So
I'm not even sure if he's even seriously considered it, LeBron or no LeBron.
yeah.
And going back to Gross and whether or not he'll be here in 10 or 15 years, one of the things I guess in Illinois' favor, or even for that matter, maybe even Indiana's favor, is he grew up over in Indiana, about halfway between here and Bloomington.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he knows the Midwest. The question would be, is he happy with the Midwest? Among, I'm sure, a multitude of other questions.
He probably is, but I go back to what the theme of today has been is about, personal motivation and the incentive.
Show me the money.
And if he's making, you look at now what Calipari makes about what?
About seven,
something. Right. So you see guys making 5, 6, and 7 million. You're making 1.7 even with your bump. And in the next couple years, because you think about what Bill Self did. He came in after Lon Kruger, and what Bill Self was able to do is turn Illinois into a national recruiting program.
Right.
For the longest, Illinois was an in-state. You maybe snatch a guy to Indiana, maybe snatch a guy to Michigan, but 95% of the players came from Illinois.
I think the only one that I can remember growing up not from Illinois is Nick Weatherspoon, out of the D.C. area, I believe.
That's a long time
That's
ago.
going way back. Yes, sir.
So now you bring Self in, and he goes down to Texas and gets a Darren Williams, a guy that I don't think anybody would even think of the state of Texas and Illinois basketball. And what did that do? That made Bill Self so attractive. And then you get an opportunity to go to basically, if not the mecca of college basketball, one of in Kansas, where Kansas recruits itself.
You just have to show up with a Kansas jacket on.
Right. Or actually,
a hat. Or just a Kansas license plate. Well, and the other thing is, Self never, I don't think ever, because I wasn't in the area when this happened, but I don't think he ever made it a secret that was his dream job.
Right. And he actually, Oklahoma State was, because that's where he's from.
Yeah, he's an Oklahoma.
And he talked about, with his dad getting up in age, he wanted his dad to be able to see him coach.
Yeah.
And the story that I've heard and confirmed with 2 or 3 other people on the inside is that he was contacted by Arkansas after, I think, the second year. And he went down there, came back, Gunther gave him a bump. Next time when he had the opportunity after the team, I think, went to the Elite Eight, he came in and told him that Kansas wanted to talk. And the reception within the office wasn't so cordial. And basically he was told, if you go, don't come back. And the rest is history. And then, Bruce Weber comes in and has 2 great years, a Sweet 16 and a national championship appearance. And everybody immediately said, oh, we got the better end of the deal.
No, they didn't.
Well, Illinois fans thought that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because remember, Self, his first couple of years, they got booted out early in the tournament, so they're like, he can't coach. And then he wins the national championship and so on. So we've seen him in the Final Four and win the national champ, and he gets the one and doners.
Yeah. But Bruce Weber leaves here, goes to Kansas State, doesn't do too bad.
But guys, Coach Weber, the thing for Coach Weber is he's a basketball guy, meaning X's and O's, he knows. But his issue has always been getting talent to come and play for him. And if you think about those first 2 years here at Illinois, the old saying, he was coaching Self's players.
Right.
He had D. Brown and Darren Williams and Luther Head and those guys, Roger Powell.
They came here because of Self.
Right. And Weber was able
some
to
degree.
do his X's and O's and get them to that level. Now, John Gross, he's played the last 2 years with Bruce Weber's players. Now you're going into your 3rd, 4th year. This is when people start to see what you can do, because your first recruits are now becoming upperclassmen.
Right.
All right. State Farm Center is going under some renovations. It just came up that I think it's next season that State Farm Center wouldn't be available for some basketball games at the beginning of the next season. Where do they play?
I think I'll just go over Central and and piss off all the ticket holders.
Right now, there's been conversation of going over to Illinois State and playing over there. Springfield, is one of the other
Peoria.
conversations. Peoria. They're trying to get
But
one location. They don't want to make it where, because it's 5 games. It's 4 regular season, 1 exhibition. Because the State Farm Center won't have its official opening until December 1.
Mhm.
And so these will be those, those November,
Right.
October game exhibition in November, right around the Thanksgiving holiday. So they want to find a place that's not too far away, but can accommodate the fan base.
well, look, a lot of those arenas only hold what 7,000-8,000 people.
Yeah, your smaller schools and the Peoria Civic Center or whatever it is holds about that. I heard something on the radio the other day that they might be smart to go down towards St. Louis, whether it be SIU Edwardsville or Carbondale or something like that, just to expose folks.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of basketball played down there.
The thing that which I appreciate them not doing, they're not charging. Those games will not be included in if you're a season ticket holder, those games won't be included in your package. So you won't be charged as a season ticket holder for those games. So, if you want to go to the games, obviously you'll just be buying a general admission ticket, but season ticket holders won't be paying for those 5 games in their ticket package as opposed to what you do in the past. Bring up a good point about going down to the St. Louis area, because obviously to do the exposure down in that area helps with recruiting in the southern part of the state and the state of Missouri. Get some exposure down there.
You're basically right in the backyard of Indiana University too.
Mm-hmm. And Tom Crean has had his nice run,
He has.
but does he get back? Does Indiana get back to where they were a couple of years ago? And this is where, when a team is vulnerable like that, that's an excellent point about trying to, backdoor them, so to speak. No pun intended on a basketball term, but try to steal a couple of guys out of their area by using your team to market down in there. But is it important in the bigger scheme of things? Probably not that important, but it is good to be able to showcase in other areas of the state where normally people may not get to see you, like down in Southern Illinois. If you don't go to the Border War game,
You don't see him.
you don't get to really see Illinois play in
And
person.
the big logo now is our state, our team. Or whatever it is. So, from a consumer relations standpoint, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it might be to play one of the 5 down there.
I just hope that
Somewhere.
they don't do anything like go north, to the Chicagoland area.
They've already got a game or 2 at the United
Right.
Center, so
So that's what I'm saying. I hope they don't do that. And just, in terms of at that time of year, weather's really not too much of a factor in November. I know last year it was, but we just had
but as you head south, it's not as
as
bad.
bad. Right. So, like you said, Carbondale, Edwardsville, areas like that. It'd be nice to see.
Or even over on the eastern part of the state where Mark Coombs went, that junior college down that way. Shawnee or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but that was many years ago. Down around Vincennes, Indiana, I think.
Vincennes.
Well, no, it was something else I thought, but maybe not. Anyway.
What did you, what did you just say?
Lakeland.
Lakers.
Lakeland.
Lakeland. That's in Decatur, man. That's not very south. Or maybe they could just go down and play one at Menard.
Just another
It's burning.
another explosion
It's
just went off in there. Reactor 3 is melting down.
Oh yeah. Okay. They moving Aaron Hernandez from his county jail to some prison, I guess.
It'd be close to his attorneys.
Yeah, that's what they said. I think he just needed a change of pace.
No, I think the county jail wanted to get rid of the problem.
That's it.
No.
They accommodated him right away with that request. It's like having a bad kid in daycare. Oh, you want to get him out?
Okay.
Hey, no
not a
problem. Sign here.
Yeah, you move to another daycare.
Right.
We will bring him to you.
Right. He can harass the other kids there.
But Blade Runner, he was back in court last week.
Oscar,
Yeah, poor fella. He can't win for losing.
there ain't nothing poor about him.
He
What about the girlfriend?
he went and took a mental evaluation, thought maybe he had some mental issues.
They thought maybe.
He shot through a bathroom door 100 times and killed his girlfriend.
No, when she was in there.
Doctor said wasn't nothing wrong with him.
Well, duh, I could have told him that. Except his aim was off a little bit.
Right.
maybe.
He had to shoot so many times.
Yeah, he started crying because he knew the jig is up.
He won't be jigging. Well, he might be.
Run for the hills.
The jig is up. Okay, what else was in the
Blade
news?
Runner this, dude.
Well, you know, World Cup. Argentina is taking on Germany,
Germany in the
tomorrow.
final.
That ought to be a
Sunday.
good one.
Is it Sunday?
Sunday. I do believe it's Sunday.
See,
Germany.
that shows you that.
Germany embarrassed the Brazilians.
They, but you know what was fun? Was tweeting every Brazilian you knew. That was enjoyable.
How many did you tweet?
And the cool part, one of the what are they call those things? Memes or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Was, you know, there's that famous statue in Brazil of Jesus, or I don't know, whatever it is, with his arms outstretched. So somebody put a caption on that. We lost by this much.
7-1 in a soccer game is like losing by 50
Yeah.
in a basketball game.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to score one goal.
You know what that was? That was the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's exactly what
That was Seattle smashing Denver. You know, where it just got to the point where you're like, okay, timeout.
5 goals in the first half is unheard of. 5 goals in a game or match or whatever the heck they call it
But
is unheard of.
Here's my thing. See all the crying going on?
Yeah, people love their soccer. At
I'm not
least-
talking about the people, I'm talking about the players.
What?
All the Brazilian soccer players crying.
They're Latin. They're emotional.
Well, you know, I don't watch soccer, so.
I don't think ethnicity has anything to do with the fact that you look like a giant baby. You're in the World Cup Final Four and you're crying because you got your handed to you.
You're
Come on,
you're
Joe.
the-
You never cried when you lost.
Never. Well, okay. I remember 5th grade, I was at the boys' club. We had a checkers tournament, and I got to the finals, and the championship
playing
was,
chess?
and it was
Checkers.
it was chips in a pop, and a bag of peanuts was, you know, and I lost because I didn't miss the double move,
And you cried.
and I flipped the board.
got kicked out.
That sucks. And the guy ran up with the red card. Get out of here.
They're in the Final Four in their home country, and they get embarrassed.
Right, but that's why I'm like,
But they were probably crying because they knew what was about to happen as soon as they walked out of the stadium.
let's say all the drug lords are waiting for him. And hey, could you come here, Carlos?
Come here, I got 5 for you.
I lost a lot of money because of you.
Yeah.
Get in the van. Let's go for the ride.
Rio de Janeiro. If you've never been there,
Oh, it is fun.
NFL. I know we all
3
got
weeks.
a few
Training camp
minutes.
opens. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
They just did the top 100. You know how they do that every year. The players vote who the top players are in the league. And Peyton Manning was voted number 1. Calvin Johnson,
Megatron.
number 2. Adrian Peterson was 4. He was 1 last year. But obviously after the, dropped down from 2,000 to 1,200, but he's still considered the top running back. He was voted ahead of LaShawn McCoy, Jamal, help me out,
Anderson? No.
no, from Kansas City. Is it White?
I think so.
Yeah. And then Marshawn Lynch. He just turned 30. So, in the lexicon of great NFL backs, usually 30 is that line of demarcation where the decrease in production starts to happen. Is that, you see it with every back. I think Barry Sanders was the only guy that,
I don't know. I think
Even Emmett declined a little bit.
I think Peterson should put up some good numbers now that they probably have a pretty decent quarterback in Bridgewater. Because I do believe he's going to be starting.
and the fact that Norv Turner is the new offensive coordinator, and he's always, he was Damian Tomlinson's guy when he was there. You mentioned Emmitt Smith. He was the offensive coordinator at Dallas when Emmitt had his most success. So when you look at lists like that, does it have any value because it's a peer list and not a fan list? You know, where the guys within the league make the determination of who's at the top 100 as opposed to us.
Well, I think it does have some legitimacy to it, but dang, did I say that?
You did say
we're all stunned.
right.
We're all stunned.
The camera just cut off because you said legitimacy.
They're at reactor number 4.
All right. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. We have a meltdown. 3 Mile Island status in 60 seconds.
Can I continue now?
You wait a minute. You can. You right. You know. You just made a 3/4 court shot, and the fans are going crazy. You're laying on the court right now because you're like, I can't believe I did that.
No.
Did they get that on camera?
It's like Wilt's 100-point game. There's no film. He used the word legitimacy, and the camera broke.
Is it real or is it memorized?
Doobity-bee-bee-boo. Come on, Ella.
See, I didn't lost my train of thought.
No, here's what's happening inside his brain. Remember those old scenes of a train wreck where the trains just come. They're just cars are just coming off the track left and right now. Because the word legitimacy and duh ran into each other.
Y'all have to excuse them. You know.
Okay. So what was after legitimacy?
I don't know.
Well, to answer your question, Joe, I think that because it's peer voted, it probably. I'm trying to think of a different word. I'm trying to think of a different word other than legitimate. I mean, for the players, I think it's kind of nice to know that your peers respect you that much.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, I'm not sure that it really means anything to anybody else. I mean, they're not getting a bonus for it, I don't think. But, I mean, to know that your peers respect your abilities that much is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess. And I don't necessarily know if I agree with the number one choice, but
I'm going to tell you, you know, I'm not a Peyton Manning, never been a Peyton Manning fan.
You are wearing a Tennessee shirt, though.
Yeah, this is for Mr. Hunt and all the Tennessee folks who say we don't talk enough Tennessee sports, but Peyton Manning had the greatest single season, you know, last year in terms of what he did in the regular season.
Right.
And I think there are so many guys, you know, whether it be a Ray Lewis who's no longer playing, or, you know, a Richard Sherman, who even though they beat him, still they talk in reverence of Peyton Manning.
Yeah, right.
And I think, you know, going to your point, does it mean anything? I think that's where, to kind of wrap all the entire show up, that personal motivation and incentive come from. If we're saying all these great kudos about Sarge, that pushes Sarge to continue to play at that level.
Pull legitimate.
Yeah, when he pulls legitimate out of his hat, that's just like when Bullwinkle looks at Rocky and says, "Hey, Rocky, you must be putting a rabbit out of my hat."
And everything comes out butter rabbit.
Right. So I think, you know, from that standpoint, I think that's where the motivation to continue to play well is because you don't want to be the bum.
You don't want to be number 100.
You don't want to be the guy that was 101 this year and 100 next year.
Right.
And now everybody wants that bum.
Well, you look at the top 100, you just think there's a lot of others. How many players in the NFL? You got 32 teams.
Yeah, but how many of them actually really play?
53.
How many of them actually really play? There's, 22 on each team that really play? Maybe 30 tops.
Right.
So,
how'd you like to be on the practice squad?
I'd love to be on the practice squad. Love to.
Would you?
Yes.
What's your reason?
Get that money.
I just practice.
Yeah.
You don't play?
I don't play.
Don't get no concussion.
Right. I'm not out there getting my brains beat in, and I get to wear the cool warm-up on Sunday. I'm that guy that you always see. I got the ball cap on.
Or the beanie.
Beanie, right. I got the little beanie. Got my hands inside my warm-up, and I'm always standing next to a guy who just came off the field. Man, saying, you know, if you'd went left instead of right, man. You know, I'm always one giving bad advice.
You know the way we did it in practice.
And you're getting the check and working 3 days a week.
If that.
Sitting there leaning on the wall, talking to the chicks in the first row.
Hey, you know I would be playing, but
Yeah.
I got a hurt.
Hamstring, yeah.
I pulled a beef string. What? I thought it was hamstring. No, I got beef. I don't have ham.
All right. Anything locally going on?
Locally, Little League, All-Stars. First string has an All-Star team.
Get out of here.
Yep, went to Paxton last night, played in the Paxton All-Star tournament. It's a round-robin tournament. 5 teams, including first string, are in it. Barn Burner lost 8-7 last night in the first game against the Paxton All-Stars. Great game. Back and forth. Go back to Paxton tonight. I think we play either Iroquois West or Buckley tonight at 6:45 up in Paxton. So if you're not in Mansfield blowing up stuff and shooting off artillery shells and mortar rounds,
Head up to Paxton.
yeah, just head on up to Paxton.
What is it, about a 20-minute drive? Something.
Exit 261. Make the right turn when you come off. You go down to Elm, make a left. Ball field's right there. You know, we've been there before.
Oh, I'll get ready to say.
There's a Hardee's right after the
Yep, Hardy's off the left, Monocle's to your right. Gas station right there. Everything you need. My home Paxton.
I get it.
But yeah, it's a good time, and also the Farm League team has. So they play. The Farm League plays before us each game. So they played a great game last night. They lost 12-11.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
yeah.
Okay, well, gang, that's going to do it for this edition of Talking Sports. Glad you guys tuned in. So be sure and tune in next week. We'll lace them up and hopefully do it again. Michael?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Joseph?
Hey, Bullwinkle, does that legitimize our show?
I don't think I can legitimately continue with the next... Oh, heck, forget it.
Da,
They're with the reactors.
da, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, blow up.